On to our next speaker. We've got Rob Jarvis, who's our head of experience and innovation, talking about innovation, the innovation game. So over to Rob.
Lovely, thank you. Welcome back, everyone. And welcome to my talk on innovation. Is anyone drunk yet? Is that a yes? No, okay, damn it. Firstly, Paul, is he still here? Paul, dog, really?
Sorry.
Thanks for that one. Difficult one to follow, but I'm going to give it a go. Cheap trick.
Yeah.
So for you, those of you who don't know me, a really quick introduction. Make sure this works. I'm Rob Jarvis. I'm the head of innovation and experience at BDA. My role is about helping people create better online experiences and driving new innovations that help businesses, your businesses, grow. I realised the other day that this has been my career for half my life now. Yes, it's kind of 18 years of DNS issues, 404 errors, and IE making, well, not IE, Internet Explorer, making things look a bit shit. But I'm still here, and I'm still doing my thing. But I think the first thing I've got to say is it's a really exciting time for digital and for tech. So as I was doing my presentation, I saw this statistic the other day, and it says there were more startups in 2017 than the previous 4 years combined. I thought that was quite a staggering statistic. What does this mean? Well, I think it potentially means more competition for you guys and some of your businesses in this room. It possibly means new entrants and disruptors to the market in your industry. But technology is having a two-pronged effect on this. The barriers to entry are getting lower. Roles that used to be taken up by human beings are being replaced by software, by artificial intelligence, and it's reducing overheads and making it easier to get your business off the ground. New markets and niches are also coming to fruition, paving the way for new business off the back of these technological advancements. So it's a real time of change. I think technology is moving at an incredible pace right now, and we do live in an amazing era where things like autonomous cars, deep learning, cryptocurrencies, quantum computing, and artificial intelligence are all realities. This is happening now. This is the stuff we used to talk about only a few years ago or 8 years ago, watching movies, but this is happening, and we are living this. They will reshape our world, they will reshape our societies, and they will most definitely reshape the way we do business. Now, I don't know if this makes sense, and I hope it does. The faster we make processes, the faster we make faster processes. And I think what I'm trying to say here is advancement in tech is exponential. It's Moore's law, if you've ever heard of it. It's that snowball effect. It doesn't go up in increments and steady increments of 5, 10, 15, 20. It goes up in 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, 320. And that's the pace it's gaining. And to put that into some sort of perspective, they say that by 2025, your computer will have the same processing power as the human brain. But then they're saying 18 months after that, only 18 months after that, it will be twice as fast as the human brain. And then 18 months after that, it will be 4 times faster than it was before. It's quite staggering. They say that by 2050, your computer will be as powerful as all the human brains in the world. That's the pace we're moving at. Another example of that is your smartphone. You know, around the room, your smartphone has more processing power than NASA had when they sent a man to the moon. That's remarkable, and that's the speed we're moving at. But what it means is as we move forward, the possibilities are endless. Business, marketers and agencies, we need to move quickly. So this guy here, Mark Field, CEO of Ford, he just said, it's quite obvious, and I think it's really apt. He said it last year at conference, without innovation, I strongly believe companies die over time. I think that's quite obvious, and we've seen it. Does anyone remember Blockbuster? Yeah, of course. So the reason Blockbuster failed wasn't because it smelt a little bit of farts, and it did. You know. It was because they failed to innovate. They had a position of strength. They had videos and DVD rental. They had a real stranglehold of the market. They sold M&Ms and popcorn and ice cream on the side to really enhance your movie experience. But from that position of strength, they failed to innovate. When people started to abandon physical films for streaming, they hadn't invested in any sort of research and development or experimentation with streaming. And they quickly faded away, and we lost the smelly blockbusters of this world. Then on the flip side of that, you've got Netflix, and I think Netflix are an amazing company. And again, they started off very similar to Blockbuster. Back in '97, they were founded, and they were selling and renting DVD films, did a bit by post as well. But in the early days, before even broadband could support it, they were already experimenting with streaming. They were visionary. They were looking to the future and where it was going to go. By 2007, they had fully implemented streaming ahead of all their competitors, and that gave them a huge stranglehold on the market. And then they didn't stop there. By 2013, they started to produce their own content, Netflix originals, House of Cards, etc. We've seen them. Right now, they are the 10th largest internet company in the world. They have 109 million members across 190 countries. And what next? They're not going to stop there. There's talk of pay-per-view events, Premier League football rights they might go for. So they're not going to stop. Some people will argue, oh, they've hit their peak. I don't think so. I think Netflix will continue to innovate and continue to push forward. So what am I saying? I'm saying that businesses need to keep pace. We need to be creative. We need to stand out from our competitors. You need to challenge the status quo in your roles and be brave enough to do so. And it's all about innovation that lies at the heart of it. So if you Google the net, there's lots of definitions. I think innovation in its simplest form is turning a new idea into a solution that adds value. And the goal of innovation in business is to give customers the best possible products, services and experiences. And if we do that, it makes our job as marketers a lot easier. So no innovation talk would be an innovation talk without a quote from the big boys, and particularly the late Steve Jobs. He says, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And it's funny, my 8-year-old daughter last night said to me, where would we be without Steve Jobs? And I kind of was taken back by it. And then she went, probably using flip phones. And it's amazing. You know, she's 8 years old and she knows who Steve Jobs was. And while this isn't as profound as Steve Jobs, but I try my hardest, I just think innovation starts with being daring. This guy, Elon Musk, formerly of PayPal, now of Tesla and SpaceX, one of the great innovators of our time. He just says, don't be afraid of new arenas when it comes to innovation. I've got something to say about it too. I say be brave. Be brave. Mind-blowing stuff. And finally, Jeff Bezos, the wealthiest man in the galaxy and main man at Amazon. He says one of the only ways to get out of a tight box is to invent your way out. I think it's just about being different. Makeshift bald head, although I'm getting there. So yeah, I say be different. Look at new ways, new ideas, and just take a look at how you do things. Have a vision, and don't focus always on the competitors. Focus on your own vision. Believe and be prepared to fail a few times when you start innovating. You don't always get it right the first time, but learn from those mistakes and evolve. The road to innovation and success is about learning. So that moves me on quite nicely to, so how are we innovating? You know, what are we doing and where are we focusing here at BDA? Well, there's not enough time to tell you everything that I want to tell you, but I'm going to give you a really quick whistle-stop tour of what we're doing and where we're putting time and focus. So 2018, we'll see the launch of BDA Beta, or Beta if you're from across the pond. It's going to be our innovation hub. It's where we're going to take a radical and aggressive approach to research and development, and study industry and tech trends, find new ways to deliver revenue for us and for your businesses. We're going to look to create exciting and new, fresh experiences for your end users. But we don't want to just stop there. We want to kind of get you guys involved. We want you to experiment with us so you don't have to invest time doing it yourselves. We want you to get involved with our rapid prototyping. Getting a minimum viable product out to market as quickly as possible. And we're going to invite you to share your problems and decide what those problems are, and then start looking at the ideas of how we could possibly address that using technology. And then we'll work with you to produce prototypes, you know, quick, rough, working solutions to see if it actually does what it's meant to do. Then we'll test, we will refine, we will learn, we will fine, and we will launch. And then from that place, following on from last year's talk, we'll look to evolve those projects with you, be it a website, an application, whatever it may be. And this is what we're doing here. So with all these advancements in tech and digital, BDA Beta will help your business. We're going to focus on those promising, exciting areas of advancement because you might not have the time or resource in-house to do so. So what sort of things are we looking at? Cognitive APIs. So cognitive APIs are intelligence that learns like a human. You have IBM Watson, you have Microsoft Cognitive Services and Google Cloud Platform. And we're going to experiment with these to create intelligent websites, applications, functions and features. And right now we're faced with huge developments here, in AI and robotics. The world is about to change, and in some cases for better, and off the back of this, some cases for the worse. The careers of drivers, GPs, lawyers, financial advisors, customer service agents, teachers, truckers, and even soldiers are all at risk over the next 15 years of slowly fading away. This is where it's replaced with artificial intelligence, robotics that learn and reacts like a human. But at the same time, that sounds a bit of scaremongery. The opportunities that come with it are huge. Virtual assistants. Artificial intelligence is powering virtual assistants. Sales for Amazon Echo Dots went through the roof at Christmas. John Lewis sold out, Amazon sold out, the high street sold out. I mean, who in this room owns a virtual assistant or a family member owns one? Yeah, so not far off half. And I think that paints a picture. And they appeal. They appeal to the tech addict who wants to create a smart home, but they also appeal to the technophobe who wants a natural user interface, so they just actions by speaking. But with anything, people get a little bit weird. 26% of voice assistant users have had a sexual fantasy about them. I can kind of imagine it. Alexa, add milk to my shopping list. Alexa, what underwear are you wearing? It's weird and it's creepy, but it happens. I wanted to throw that one in there because I just thought it was strange. But yes, so voice search. So with all these virtual assistants kicking around, voice search is booming. By 2020, 50% of all searches will be made by voice. This is really scary for brands, really scary for marketers, as there will be no visual element. Brands will be defined by the knowledge available on the web and not necessarily by the knowledge available on your website. We're talking about the knowledge platforms that are curated by your customers, the reviews, etc. So what are we trying to do at BDA to harness this? Well, we're trying to find new ways to manage your knowledge. BDA Beta will want to understand the knowledge graph and the algorithms that power Google's search engines, as well as voice search engines. We're experimenting with content curation to get the best results. How we manipulate knowledge platforms such as Google+, Google My Business, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, review sites, Wikipedia, YouTube and Wikidata, to how we can improve your SEO, improve your rich search results, and also how we can improve voice search performance of your brands. It's going to be so key. We really need to understand this because this is an area that brands have to tap into for growth. Chatbots. We're now using AI to develop more intelligent and customizable chatbots. Again, 2018 is going to see a massive boom in their usage. Users really want that one-to-one service and support, while brands find it hard to scale up and provide that. So chatbots provide that happy medium. The NHS, for example, is using one right now. They're using it and trialling it in North London. And what it is, it's to kind of take the load off the Treble One service. So what it does, you log into the chatbot, it's an instant response, and it asks you for your symptoms. Then every time you respond from multiple choice answers, it then consults a database, a huge medical database, and it keeps then starting to drill down and ask the questions, and completely tailoring its answers to what you're saying. There's no human intervention. It's reducing the pressure on the NHS over the busy winter period. It probably will do beyond. It's a little bit scary at the moment because thinking I'm being diagnosed by a robot, but this is going to become more commonplace after this trial ends. So there's going to be massive growth there. Here's a little bit of a fun one for you. I don't know if you've seen this. This is how-old.net, and it can determine your age and sex by a photo of you. It uses facial recognition APIs, mixed with algorithms and patterns and machine learning to constantly evolve and create complex algorithms on how it actually reads your face. Again, we're going to put it out there on an iPad, have a quick go. It offends some people, but on the whole, it's pretty accurate. And how did they do that? Well, in the beginning, they uploaded hundreds of thousands of pictures of people with their age next to it and told the machine this. Then, as the first users started to use it, it asked you whether or not it got your age and sex correct. And if you said no, it didn't, it then learnt the reasons why. It looked at the traits of your face, compared it against other entries, and then started to machine learn. So again, AI is powering things like that. And we're looking at how actually we can use these sort of API mashups, these cognitive mashups of facial recognition and machine learning to make intelligent websites, to make intelligent platforms. This is the one that, we've got a couple of examples out there, but there's realities. So many realities. But do we actually know the difference between all the realities? Here's a quick crash course. We've got virtual reality. So virtual reality is like the Oculus Rift that we have out there, completely enclosed digital immersive environments. It's great for entertainment, but business cases will require quite a lot of investment if you want something bespoke for you. But, have a go if you haven't already out there. It's great fun. Then you've got AR, augmented reality. This is the real world with a digital overlay. And this has some really good uses in campaigns and information services. It's affordable and effective, and you've probably seen it on your phone before. I think everyone's experimented at some time with it. And I've got an example of how it can be used really well in a minute. Excuse me. And then you've got mixed reality. This is kind of your Microsoft HoloLens. This is where it mixes dynamic digital content and holographic content with your surroundings. So you can actually measure, the headset uses cameras to measure the area around you and actually allow you to place things on surfaces as well as interacting with holograms and digital content. So that's why it's mixed, because you have that interaction. At the moment, there are some practical uses for HoloLens. Architecture, being able to get inside the building and see what you're designing. 3D design, multiple screens, and remote collaboration are all benefits of HoloLens. But there is one big barrier, and that's the size of the headset. At the moment, I think people don't want to sit in offices with giant headsets on. You look a moron. It's hard enough to stand up at your desk without being laughed at. So I think that's the barrier, but the way it's going, it's going to be a big part of the future. So augmented reality, I just want to go back to this. It always put me off a little bit, because you had to download your app onto your phone, you open your magazine, you hover over the piece, and then it comes to life. And it just seemed just a little bit kind of, prohibitive, a bit time-consuming for very little reward. But this is a really good example. You may have seen this. This is how Pepsi transformed a bus shelter in London using augmented reality.
I'm telling you, this is how it works, man.
I think you get the gist. And people might say, well, what did that do for Pepsi? Well, you can see there, it was different. It interested people. They shared it. They had their photo taken with it. And it just stood out, and people wanted to be involved with it. And it looked after itself. It marketed itself after that. They didn't have to have any powerful message on there. It was just their brand. And it was a really good use of it. The next thing I just want to quickly touch on is that mixed reality, that HoloLens, you know, digital content and holograms integrated with the real world. And this is just the beginning of this tech. It really is in its infancy. I mean, I think many of us probably watched the Minority Report many years ago and like, oh, that's the future. Again, this is happening. This headset does this. Doesn't predict when murders are going to happen. So don't get too carried away. But this future's happening now. So HoloLens is out there for you to try. If you haven't already, have a little play with it. It's an interesting piece of equipment, and this is how Microsoft are promoting it to commercial outlets and companies.
The HoloLens is a device that extends the realities around you.
The biggest problem an architect has is getting from the screen into physical space. HoloLens is going to bridge that gap.
It's just amazing. We're going from design to collaboration to radical collaboration. And it's completely changing the way people actually approach design.
Microsoft HoloLens allows you to collaborate with somebody regardless of distance, like they were there.
Since we can't put our scientists yet physically on Mars, well, what's possible if we can make them virtually present? That's transformational.
We've been teaching human anatomy the same way for 100 years, and it's completely two-dimensional, and the human body isn't.
As soon as you can change somebody's understanding, then they can change the way they see the world.
It's going to push us in ways that we weren't pushing ourselves before. Now we're actually able to bring it to life.
This is going to be a big technology movement going forward. It's going to change everything.
There you go. So it's already being trialled in health by police forces, by shop fits, etc. And there are real-world uses for it, and it will get there. And if you think of that, it might go away. That's the estimate. There will be a £22 billion investment in holotech over the next 3 years, so it's not going anywhere. We as a company plan to get down to Microsoft Mixed Reality Studios in London to create some of our own holographic content later this year. And again, watch this space, because we'll be seeing what we can do with it. One of the final kind of innovations I wanted us to focus on, just very briefly, is data visualization. So in 2016 and 2017, we tested our first Google Data Studio dashboards here. They were in beta and we continue to improve the features. But what we need to do kind of moving forward is actually look at the wider scope of data. There's so much of it now. And it's actually about how we take it from 2D into the 3D world so you can explore it. And where we really want to get to with data visualization is using it to kind of tell immersive stories, not use it for back-end analysis only, but actually tell immersive stories to your customers. I can't go into all the detail now, but there are some bits I'd like to share with some of you because you've expressed an interest about how we go about doing that and what the benefits could be in your industry. But that's something that's changing quite fast, and that's something that I encourage everyone to kind of consider, how we kind of interrogate our own data and how we collect it and drive insights from it. So it's been quite an intense snapshot of innovation, a bit of generalizations about innovation, about what we're doing here at BDA. I crammed in as much as 20 minutes would allow, but I haven't really even scratched the surface. So I just want to leave you with a quick summary and takeaway. Now, I stupidly deleted the slide with some pictures on and some bits and bobs, so I'm going to have to kind of regurgitate it from my notes. But innovation can take many forms, guys. New algorithms, data processing, improved models, and interfaces, and seamless experiences. This is a real chance for you as marketers, for you as businesses to innovate, to combine latest technologies to create mashups and make advances. It's about building unique experiences for your users. It's so important. It's what separates you from the competition. And it's about empowering your users. It's about making you different. Be different to your competition and be brave with it. Guys, that's it. Thank you very much.
All right. I've worked out how to use the microphone. So, does anybody have any questions? Oh, there's some questions. Here we go. Here we go. This is Chris Buck.
As a lawyer, how long until I'm replaced by a computer? Your expectations?
I did kind of look at you out the corner of my eye, and No, I think not all the services that these professions offer will be replaced, but I think you will see elements of it. So maybe those initial consultations could be fast-tracked. Obviously, don't know enough about your industry, but I think elements we'll see probably in our lifetime replaced and change the way we do things. So I think you've got a bit of time yet. I think you've got time to get your pension.
Thank you, Chris. Any more for any more? I've got a quick one for you.
Oh, David, you said you wouldn't.
Cybercrime, security. Where does this fit into all this?
Well, it plays a massive part. I mean, we all saw what happened with the NHS in 2017. It absolutely crippled them, and it cost them millions. So cybercrime is really important. So I think I've probably 2 tips. The first tip is get really good cyber insurance cover. I think that is absolutely critical. We've got an insurance company.
Any insurers in the room?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I think that's imperative. But I think one of the biggest things is marketers have to work closely with their internal IT teams. And I know IT teams have been a pain in the bum in the past. Oh, that will take 3 weeks to put that through. But I think that's what we've got to focus on, working together, understanding why actually there's delays there, and the security that we have to put in place. There are actually a couple of stats. I read the other day that 1.5 million was the average cost to a medium-sized business, medium to large-sized business, of a data breach. I mean, that's huge. That can send companies under. I think they said that there was 230,000 new viruses or malware samples created every day. That's huge. And the other stat I probably should add in there, it takes the average company 192 days to know there's been a security breach, because they're subtle. They find the back door, it sits in there, it sits dormant, slowly propagates, and then by the time you discover it, it's often too late. So, yeah, 2 tips. Forgotten them. Insurance, get some insurance. And number 2, work closely with your IT teams or your developers, and really try to understand the security that you need to put in place around your online platforms.